This woman is mad, angry, and spiteful. Why? Because she is a criminal, and I have just ruined her day. China has a hidden problem. A problem that the government works very hard to hide but simply cannot. It's an organized crime syndicate, bigger than the Italian mafia, Yakuza, and the Russian mob combined. It spans the entire country, from the smallest mountain village to the biggest and flashiest urban centers. And this may surprise you, but it's recently even gone international. I am talking, of course, about China's ruthless beggar gangs. They are far more sinister than people may realize. These aren't a group of jovial beggars with a code of honor looking after each other, no. These are ruthless, murderous, and disgusting human trafficking assholes. 2023 was a massive year for data brokers. Think about it. How much spam did you get? I'm talking about spam calls, stupid junk mail in your mailbox. You know what I'm talking about. These guys have been busy. And for those of you who don't know what data brokers are, they're the scum of the earth. They're these people who get your information from websites and from forms that you fill out when you go to the gym or the mechanic or whatever it is, and they sell that information off to advertisers and other nefarious people out there. Now, there's a way that you can get this taken care of, but it's incredibly difficult. You have to send legal letters to each and every one for them to remove your name. Now, there are literally thousands of these guys out there, but there is a solution, and that is incognito. They will, with your permission, approach every single known data broker and ask them legally to remove your name off of the lists. And it's a great way to take your privacy back. Right now, the first 100 people who sign up at incogni.com/Winston and use the code Winston will get 60% off. So jump on it, link is down below, take your privacy back. And now, back to the show. Whilst I can truly empathize with people who are down on their luck and have and always will lend a helping hand when appropriate to those in need, I have nothing but contempt for the beggar gangs of China who purchase or kidnap children and purposefully maim and disfigure them in order to use them to earn money through sympathy. And if sympathy doesn't work, they will infuriatingly and forcefully inconvenience and scare people into giving them money. This woman is a part of that disgusting machine. Instructed to break the law and beg in a no-beg area with her fake kid on loan for the day and her blind husband in tow. So here we have some beggars on the train. See how clever they are. They stop whenever the door's open. No. No. Look at the little kids attacking me now. Look at this.
What is that?
Look at this. Look at this. This is Shenzhen地铁，这里不行。可以去外面。These are not genuine hard on their luck people. These are professionals at work illegally. And like I said, I've encountered and confronted many of them. If any of you guys think I'm picking on these beggars, think again. This is a formula. Take a look. Every single time they have somebody healthy who looks poor dragging along somebody who's disfigured. Either blind or burned or who knows what, and it's disgusting. It is a formula. It is something they've been told to do. The gangs have organized this, and the gangs are the people that probably blinded and disfigured these people in the first place. So, how did I piss off China's most annoyed women? Simple. I screwed up their begging routine. You see, as usual, they came onto the subway in disguise. Remember that in order to enter the subway in Chinese cities, you need to pay money, and pass through a security checkpoint. The security guards will actually prevent obvious beggars from entering, as it's against the law and policies to beg on public transport in China. You may not panhandle or beg on buses, subways, trains, anything like that. So once they've paid their entrance fee and entered the subway, they quickly change their clothing, whip out their flute or whatever, and start begging to a captive audience, walking up and down the train carriages and then changing trains and doing it all day. You see, with a single entry to the subway system paid for, they can spend hours down there fleecing the commuters. Some give out of sympathy, others out of fear of reprisal or inconvenience. Honestly, what hurts the most is seeing children being indoctrinated into this lifestyle. You can see how the little boys started attacking me because I was questioning and confronting them for begging where they're not allowed to beg. This little guy will probably grow up a monster, as this is all he has known and been taught, and that is taking advantage of people is the only way to make money. Sadly, this ensures that the cycle continues, and when he's all grown up, he too will be part of the beggar gangs, overseeing the begging operations, seeing other children like him kidnapped into slavery and bussed around, forced to beg for the very gangs that kidnapped or purchased them to begin with. Let me ask you this. Why do you think China is one of the least charitable countries in the world? Did you know that? Yes, seriously. Worse than Venezuela, Congo, Moldova, or any number of poor and developing countries. In fact, China ranked worst, absolutely last in the entire world when it comes to charity and giving, according to the CAF World Giving Index in 2019. People don't give because they've been burned. They know the beggars are scammers and supported by gangs. You cannot approach this from a Western mindset. Supporting beggars in China is supporting crime syndicates that kidnap and hurt children. It bears repeating how I confronted a gang of beggar women passing around the same drugged child to beg on the Shenzhen metro. One day, a different woman would have him on her back, the next day, a different one. I took photos of these women over the period of a few days before I actually confronted them and physically pulled one off of the metro and handed her over to the security guards, who then called the police, and I Bluetoothed all of the photos I had been taking of them over the preceding days, and they were taken away. They actually put up a sign at the security checkpoints with one of the photos I'd given them, warning people not to support anyone doing the same thing in the future. I must, once again, drive the point home that these aren't hard-on-their-luck beggars. These are criminals, forcing children to do dirty work. Here I exposed how handlers forced children to cling onto people's clothing with grubby hands until they pay them to let go. See, this little girl here is a flower scammer. She's obviously got people watching her. I think that's her observer over there, this scumbag. It's probably the observer. It's giving me the eye because I'm filming. Yeah, and her as well. So they're keeping an eye on her, and she's going to find a couple to scam. Yeah, this one here, that one there. Now I've made them uncomfortable. Probably gonna leave. So, what happens is she'll find a couple, and then she'll grab onto usually the girl in the couple. Yeah, see the observers? Now they're chasing her that way. Yeah. So that guy's escaping over there. Now she's herding her off. I don't stand for this shit, and that is why I've been able to uncover and expose the minders. I start filming them and the minders come out of the woodwork to stop me. This is why people don't interfere with these criminals. They are afraid that the gangs will target them for retribution. And if I wasn't a foreigner in a suit with a camera, I'd have been taken care of a long time ago. We have only just scratched the surface of this topic, and I'd like to end this on a rather absurd note, and that is how beggar gangs have gone international. Since China is one of the least charitable countries in the world, the beggar gangs decided to hit the fertile streets of Western countries, knowing that Western societies are gold mines. A few years ago, a beggar gang was stopped operating on the streets of Australia. They were flying in elderly people on tourist visas, housing them in shared accommodation, and then dressing them in rags and dropping them off in vans all over the city in shopping areas, etc., where they'd lie on the sidewalk begging for money. When their shift was over, they'd be collected, and the next beggar would put on the same ragged clothes and assume the same position. This way, they would ensure that they fleeced the locals of their charity on an industrial scale. This was going on for ages until people noticed that different beggars were wearing the same distinctive ragged jacket.
Police have busted scammers who flew in from China to pose as the homeless, ripping off well-meaning Melburnians. 7 fake beggars were arrested in the targeted sting. Stephanie Anderson reports.
Slumped on the footpath, begging for cash, a confronting sight, but it's all a scam.
They're not vulnerable people. They've got access to housing and they're just taking advantage and deceiving the good people of Melbourne.
These women are among 7 Chinese nationals arrested under Operation Aquam, a joint initiative between police, Melbourne City Council and the Salvos, cracking down on professional beggars in Australia to make a buck by pretending to be homeless.
I actually felt physically sick when I saw what was taking place across the city.
The Salvos first raised concerns last month when police brought in 2 elderly Chinese for help. Officers then swooped earlier this week, arresting 5 women and 2 men aged between 65 and 72. Investigators say they're here on tourist visas, staying in city accommodation. Their clothes have patches sewn on to make them look tattered, and they had receipts for Australian cash being exchanged for Chinese currency.
Ever been approached by a Chinese monk in a touristy area trying to give you a bracelet or a good luck charm? Those are also part of these international Chinese beggar syndicates. So, back to China's most pissed off woman. I'm glad I pissed her off. I'm glad I ruined her day by calling the security guards on her and her fake-ass gang crimes. And I hope that kid manages to someday break free of his life of servitude and slavery at the clutches of the beggar gangs. Do better, China. Thank you for watching and supporting my videos. Unlike the ruthless beggar gangs of China, stay awesome. Oh, and please join me for my Friday show, where we give you all the latest news coming out of China. It's a lot of fun, and I hope to see you there. Until next time, as always, you know the drill. Stay awesome.